Yeah, so it has been a very long time coming, but it is officially the day that I am transitioning completely away from centralized exchanges. So Binance specifically, a lot of the charts that we put out are DeFi, and that's where I transitioned a long time ago. About a year and a half ago, I think we introduced DeFi coins and trade setups into DTM, and this is where I've always been trying to keep some Binance or centralized exchange setups going. And over the last year and a half, I have noticed that I'm spending more time looking for coins just to see 3, 4, 5, maybe 8% gains compared to some of the DeFi coins where we can trade the higher volatility coins much more rapidly and see 25, 55, 110% gains like we did 4 or 5 years ago. So it's been a long time coming, but I am officially closing all of my well, just Binance entirely. I closed all the other centralized exchange accounts already, but transitioning the Day Trade Masters channel into completely DeFi setups. So this is where I feel that I am doing people a disservice by still bringing Binance to the table. For me personally, I don't feel that there is value there for me. Being as specialized in DeFi, seeing the coins, seeing the trade setups, seeing the movement that we are seeing, it's better to focus there. And it's been more than proven. So we've done this 4 times now in the last 8 months, and we're seeing it with bid. So we have, prior to this, it was a bit complicated with DEXs where we had to choose a network, choose a DEX. There was a lot more training required to just get a trade through. Whereas now it's been simplified to the point where we don't have to bounce different DEXs. We don't have to bounce different networks. That's my job to find the network, find the volume, find the volatility. But as far as actively trading or actually putting that trade through the DEX, it has been simplified to the point where it is easier than the centralized exchanges are. So, um, BID is an example, but just to uh, kind of share what this looks like for those that aren't familiar, we have wallets. So there is an article, Nico, if you could please share that article in the channel that talks about setting up a MetaMask account. You can use MetaMask. It is nice as you have Ethereum-based wallets and Solana-based wallets. We're typically focused on either Base or Solana. You can have each if you prefer. And Nico, if you just don't mind, can you see with the pop-up? You're
Yes, I
muted
can.
again.
I can. There we go.
Okay,
Continue.
so if you want to use MetaMask, you can. You just simply go in and you add an Ethereum account or you add a Solana account. For me personally, I do prefer Rabby, and that's one that I've talked about for quite some time. This is where we do the trading. So it is fairly simple, fairly straightforward. You can do swaps right inside Rabby if you prefer, but for me personally, I do like Jumper decks. This is one that gives us a really nice breakdown. You can see that there's different exchanges that it offers, but it's going to give you the best price. And if we want to go to a different network, we can. You know, you can go from Solana to Ethereum and just do a simple swap. For Solana to Ethereum specifically, it's going to ask you to connect your Solana and your Ethereum wallet, but outside of that, that's the most complex that it gets. For the most part, we're trading coins on base right now, anyways. So come into CoinGecko. If I post something like bid, for example, talking about bid setting up, or one of these other coins, I'll get into that here shortly. You can simply come in here and check the 2% as we always do, plus minus 2%. Uniswap is typically the place that we're trading this. You got to keep an eye on that a little bit for some of these coins. This one's a bit more spread out. Um, Typically, we're okay. We're going to see Aerodrome is the best price, so 35,000. Um, Not the best example. Let's use Deking for an example. It's more straightforward. So we can see the best liquidity is on Uniswap V2. So you don't have to worry about these other ones, but all we have to do is come in. look for the contract address and we paste it, copy it. We can come into Jumper, select base, and we can select DKing. So if we want to do a swap, we can. We swap back, just as easy. So as far as Aeon or something like this goes, I post a deck screener chart and stop me at any point if I'm bouncing a little bit too fast. With the deck screener, well, I'll post the link, I'll post the chart. It's a little bit different layout, but it's still the same process. So we've got Aeon contract address down here. You simply come in, we grab the trading pair, and then we can swap in or swap out. So I've already bought Aeon. Let's just do a quick swap. We can see it's going to give us all these different dexes. We just simply choose the best deal. So negative 0.06%. That's a minor hit. We come in for the swap. It's going to let us know that we need to approve the token. We sign. And this is the one example that I wanted to give right away because we need to adjust our slippage. We talk with the Bitcoins about a 2% sell tax. So if we get this fail to load, we know something's off. Simply come in here, come back to the settings, set your slippage, do 5% because it's a 2%. Oops. ETH, review swap, and the start swapping. Now there's no issues, no failed, anything, and we just hit swap. That's the only time you're going to have to mess with your slippage. Normally, we simply leave it on auto, and that's where we can do a swap back. Let's do just a fraction of that. We always want to leave some gas fees or gas. Now here we see plus 0.31%. So we're getting plus 0.31% more coin. This is the rate that we're getting. 1 ETH equals 4,077 Aeon. You don't even have to select it. You can just hit swap. Make sure everything's okay. And just like that, we can swap in, swap out. If we want to do USDC, say we want to park our funds, we can just do the exact same thing. So I don't usually hold any Ethereum. I'll swap into USDC. For the bid trading pairs specifically, we use ETH, but you can use USDC for pretty much everything as well. For these, I do also swap in with USDC, and there's never any issues. So pretty quick, pretty straightforward. It takes a couple tries, but for the most part, the only real issue that I've ever come across is I forget to leave a little bit of gas. So if that happens, we can use this feature here on the bottom, the little gas fill station. If you've got coin on another wallet, you can simply select that, from Binance Smart Chain or from Solana, whatever, and then just bring it into Ethereum that you need. So Ethereum on Base versus Ethereum on Ethereum mainnet. But then again, it's a little bit more advanced. We don't trade on Ethereum mainnet. I only trade right now on Base. We do use Solana sometimes, and I'll put out a specific training article to break this down step by step by step. But just for everyone here, just to see, it's fairly straightforward. The only issue that we ever run into is that slippage on the bid agents specifically. So if there's something like KTA, Let me just get out of here. Garbage it. So I want to go from ETH to KTA. Kita. And then it's just that same process. We don't have to worry about slippage on KTA. That auto slippage is super easy. So we can see plus 0.07%. At the swap, we can see the ETH, $2.44. The KTA, $2.45. That's where that plus percent comes in, or slippage. And yeah, some of the more advanced stuff, but don't really need to worry about most of it. Pretty quick, pretty straightforward. And with Base, we can do a ton of transactions for basically no gas.